On the first episode of We're No Dam Experts, Rebecca and Madi introduce the greatest dam town in Montana, Great Falls. They tell you where it is, what you can do here, and why you should see it for yourself.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you wanna go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
So we have audio. I think we should start every episode with, we have audio.
Oh my God, we have audio. Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm your host, Rebecca Ingham, and with me is my co-host,
Madi Hazard.
and together we make a dynamic team.
Yes, we do. We're here to share with you everything about Great Falls.
Well,
Not everything.
surface. We're going to cover some stuff about Great Falls. This podcast, or this episode of the podcast, is dedicated to getting you oriented to Great Falls. We're going to talk about where it is, because geography is a challenge for some people, not all. Pretty good at it. So we're going to cover where it is, what there is here, on the big picture level, because it's a podcast, and if we were to do it all in one episode, there'd be no need to tune back in.
Yeah, it would probably last about 75 hours, and then we would go home and sleep after, being exhausted and still come up with more things to share.
Which would be fun. But I don't know anybody's commute who is that long. And we do know people listen to podcasts on their commute.
Well, we do have some visitors, we do have some people that visit our website from New York City.
Oh, that would be a big commute.
Los Angeles has popped up there a few times, and whenever I hear people from LA complain, it's always the traffic.
And I don't want to brag or nothing, but my commute home is 8 minutes.
My commute is 7 minutes, so I would need to listen to this when I exercise, so that would take me up to 12 minutes.
And I've heard people do that. I'm no expert on podcast development or listeners, but I have heard that.
So our drive markets, when you're coming here, play the podcast.
Yeah.
Get to know us.
And it'll get you all the things. You'll show up and you'll be like, I want to do all these things that Madi and Rebecca talked about. And we'll be like, yeah, sure, do it. You're going to have to book a month-long stay.
There you go. We've had guests call on their way to Great Falls, and I kid you not, one woman called me 6 times because she called me every hour asking for more information. And I thought I gave her a lot, but she wanted more. And when she finally pulled in, welcome. Well, here you are. Everything I told you should cover the bases, but no, she wanted more.
These are the people we love.
Yes. But I also want to tell her, get out and explore Great Falls. I know you have a crush on me, or you want to have a beer. I do too. But you're here with your husband, and you need to go have that experience.
Yeah. So, Great Falls, Montana is in kind of the general part of the state. Central part of the state. The state of Montana, if you were to divide the United States into quadrants, like you drew a line down the middle, going north and south, and a middle across going east and west, we'd be in the top left corner, or what some people would call the northwest corner of the United States. Our neighbors, you might have heard of them as Canada.
Rebecca grew up in Canada.
Really close. I'm 16 miles from the border where I grew up. It could come out if we have a Canadian guest. My A's get long, my O's get long. It'll happen. But our neighbors are Canada, Wyoming, Idaho, North Dakota, South Dakota. So these are all a bunch of states you probably know about, but can't point to on a map, which is okay.
That's fine with me.
When we head east and south, I get some challenges. Let's be honest. I get very little challenges. I was the geography meet champion in my high school.
She's just trying to make you feel better, people.
But other people would be challenged on the East Coast if you're from Montana. So it's just the way it works. But we are in Montana, 4th largest state in the nation.
Yes.
We have, brace for it,
Drum roll. Boom, 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 boom.
a total of 1 million people in our state.
With the 4th largest state. So
there's a lot of room to roam.
Exactly.
You're going to find more cows than people.
True.
Not a joke, just the way it is. We produce a mean cow. And some great grains. But let's stick to geography. We sit on the Missouri River,
Which is the longest river in North America with 2,341 miles. And we're one of the lucky places that it's on it.
Couldn't be happier.
Yes.
So you may have seen Montana in pictures. You may have seen Montana in films. You may have really fallen in love with Montana as a whole. But it is important that you know Great Falls isn't like everything you've seen in the movies or the pictures about Montana, unless you fell completely in love with Thunderbolt and Lightfoot back in the day, starring, do you know?
No, I don't. I'm listening. I'm right now a podcast listener. What is she going to say next?
Clint Eastwood starred in that show.
What?
Filmed in Great Falls. And it is truly a great depiction of Great Falls, Montana. Now, there was another recent movie that was filmed about Great Falls called Wildlife, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and I don't remember the female actress's name. I think it was Carrie something.
Okay.
Really good, but it was filmed in Enid, Oklahoma. So if you want to know whose landscape looks like Great Falls, Enid, Oklahoma. The timing didn't work for the filming. That's why it wasn't filmed here in Great Falls.
Okay.
They started filming in the fall, which, as you may or may not know, we get snow in the fall.
Yes, we'll dive into that a little later.
But we have the Missouri River Valley here. We are at the confluence of the Missouri with the Sun River. We also have the Smith River just south of us. So a lot of rivers running through it.
Oh, that's another movie about Montana.
It is, not our area.
No, but so please, when you watch that movie, appreciate it. But no, it's not Great Falls because contrary to popular belief, we have buildings.
We do. Plumbed water. We have running water.
No outhouses.
Flush toilets.
Power.
Cars.
I wonder where the power comes from.
Oh, dams.
Damn it, I wanted to say that.
So you will hear us reference dam throughout this podcast, which is called We're No Dam Experts, because we are not hydroelectric dam experts. Not even the least.
None.
But we have 5 hydroelectric dams in our community. And save it for a rainy day. We'll do another episode on it. But Great Falls is the reason Montana grew. We delivered the power to Butte, which at one point was the largest city in our state. Butte's got some great history, but this isn't a podcast about Butte.
We'll see if they come up with their own to rival this one.
Maybe we'll find a joint episode we can do together, because Butte is pretty cool. But we also powered the development of Fort Peck Dam.
Oh, yes. The mining history.
Yeah, so there's a lot of connections to the rest of the state to Great Falls, making us, the center of the universe.
We are Montana's base camp for art and adventure and power.
But this is the great opportunity. We have had some feedback that, you guys shouldn't use the word dam. This is an opportunity to become educated. When we say dam, we're talking about our dams, our dam. A-M. That's it. Whether it be Black Eagle Dam, Rainbow Dam, Ryan Dam.
Ooh, Ryan Dam's my favorite.
I want to do an episode on Gibson Dam.
Oh, the one that was the model for Hoover Dam.
I will try and become an expert on that, because there's another placard that I read out there. It's really interesting. We'll find an expert on Gibson Dam and have them here for that episode.
Yes, that sounds perfect.
Because we're not experts.
No dam experts. However, we're also using dam as a pun. So if I do say dam, I'm meaning it like, hey, I get to use this word. And I don't know if you know what a pun is, but it's the oldest form of humor. And man, I used to be funny, and this is the only thing I have left. So when I do email my boss, I say, damn, we're good. And I'm talking about the dams, the Ryan Dam. That's one of my favorites.
Yep.
Sunsets over there. Magnificent.
Maroney Dam's one of my favorites.
That one is beautiful too. But a lot of people go there to look at them, but you should really understand the history behind it too. It makes it even more magnificent.
And what goes into maintaining them? Maybe we'll even have someone from Northwestern Energy, who is the dam owners.
Come on down.
Yeah.
Come on down and tell us all about the dams.
I got some hookups in that area.
Rebecca knows everyone in town, okay? So
not everyone.
Near everyone.
Some people. But we have that opportunity to educate people about what we're talking about when we say dam. And it is based on the fact that we are on the Missouri River, the Sun River flows into it, and we have 5 hydroelectric dams.
So Rebecca touched a little bit about fall in Montana. So I'm going to just give you a brief overview of what to expect weather-wise.
Oh, perfect. I couldn't think of a better role for you to play.
So in this stance, I am going to claim I'm an expert. I was a meteorologist for roughly 13 years, and I forecasted all over the world in multiple avenues or ways. And Great Falls has 4 seasons. Some may argue that. It's just that one season's longer than the other, people. In 2019, we had our first snowfall of the fall season on September 26th or 29th, I believe, and we received 6 inches. And it was before the fall leaves could change color.
Oh, it was an awful fall.
It was. We had some 6 inches, beautiful white snow, and I took a picture of my lawn the next day, and I sent it to my husband, and he said, oh, we have a green lawn again. I said, no, honey, that's not grass. Those are the green leaves that fell off of it. So for this year, fall started September 22nd. We had our first snowfall this past weekend, and that was the 18th or 17th was this weekend. And that's where we received the most snowfall per day in October ever. And it was 8.4 inches just in one day. So,
but I will tell you, they were the perfect Christmas photos ever, because if we wait till December to get Christmas photos, I'll tell you, I'm an avid ice fisherman. I'm an avid ice fisher. I'm an avid fisher, not just ice.
Yes.
Good Lord. But last year we got that early snow, but we had to cancel all the ice fishing tournaments in the area because there wasn't enough ice on the lakes to be safe on the water.
It's unfortunate that happens, but there is still plenty of other outdoor activities that you can do.
You can stand on the shore and fish with just a regular rod.
Or you don't always have to fish, Rebecca.
Oh.
Majority of our people come here for scenic drives, nature photography, and hiking is up there as well.
That's true.
So in the winter, you can still hike, but we do it in a cool way with snowshoes.
Or cross-country skis.
Or cross-country skis. Yes, That is a way. So as we said, fall's short. We have over 33,000 trees that are publicly owned in the city limits of Great Falls. So if you are fortunate enough to come back, to come here during fall and experience it, you're going to make your friends jealous.
I got excited because I was going to add in, our founder, Paris Gibson, was really big on tree-lined boulevards, which is why we are one of Tree City USA's designated communities. But also, he really wanted people to enjoy the community. We have 57 city parks.
57. And I don't
57 city parks!
Do you guys know how big Great Falls is square footage-wise or acreage-wise? None, but I look on the map and I see a lot of parks.
We are the 3rd largest city in the state.
60,000 residents.
Right. And I know some of our listeners, like in LA or Salt Lake or
Denver, Dallas,
Calgary.
Hi, our friends in the north.
Calgary's only 5.5 hours away. Mm-hmm. Community of 1.2 million people, just in that city alone. So we understand, what's the right term? The humor of us calling ourselves a city at 60,000 people. But again, Montana only has 1 million total people in our entire state.
What do you want us to say, people? If we were any larger, we'd we wouldn't be Great Falls. And Great Falls really is amazing at 60,000. So we've both lived in other communities, visited other communities, and I have to say this is the best size because we have all the city amenities, yet nature is not that far away.
I will caveat, we wouldn't hurt growing.
No, that wouldn't.
We would love some residents just because, more importantly, another random piece of data, a couple years ago, we had 2,700 open jobs in our community. 2,700 open jobs, which means you could move here easily, get a job, and we'd welcome you with open arms if you wanted to become a resident. But, we're here to encourage you to visit.
Yes. So this is our plot. This is Great Falls plot. You're going to listen to this podcast. You're going to fall in love with Rebecca. You're going to make her famous. But then you're going to come visit Great Falls. And then you're going to come visit again. And then you're going to get your friends and family to visit. And then the visits are going to become so frequent, you're just going to say, it make more sense to move here.
It would. And just have people come and stay in hotels because you don't want people to stay at your house.
No. So I had my family stay at my house for about 2 weeks this summer.
Oh, that's right. And you're also remodeling that
Yes,
house.
I'm remodeling the house, stress tested max, not only on the house itself, but on everyone's emotions, we'll say. So the family, I love them. If they were in a hotel, I think everyone might have had a better night's sleep because I do have a 2.5-year-old.
And we have 2,300 rooms available. You take your pick. You get the gamut from branded ones to local owners to
the best luxury boutique hotel that was awarded recently. I want to say in 2017, it was Hotel Arvon. I was just there and I saw their plaque on the wall. And
really?
Yeah. And it's such a cool little spot in town, too.
It's like the oldest commercial building in the city or in the state?
We're going to say city. Correct us if we're wrong. Come at me, bro.
We're no damn experts.
And then you have the other branded ones. So if you have some rewards that you want to spend,
sure bet.
Come and get it. Come and get it here.
For sure.
So back to winter.
Sorry about
It's
that
all
tangent.
right.
You're back to the seasons, our meteorologist.
Yes. So we do have plenty of snow, and that's when we get our most precipitation is during the winter and the fall. Summers are pretty dry. So springs are a little dreary. We get spring to slowly come about, but come Memorial Day weekend, we're ready for summer. It's warm enough. You don't have to wear a coat. You can out explore and enjoy this damn city. Summer, like I said, it's fairly dry, but that means that rain's not going to dampen any parade, and our temperatures are fairly comfortable. Like overnight, we see 50s. This past summer, it did get a little warm.
I always remember the high points of heat because I don't like the heat. I'm a 70s girl.
Yes.
70s is really awesome.
Yes.
And it starts to get 76. It feels like a million. So for me, anything past that. But I can remember a few times this summer hitting the 90s.
We
But
got
they were
to
just for like
100.
a few, it's like a day or two.
A random day. So fun fact, when we do get 100 degrees in a few months, our temperatures are going to swing maybe 130 degrees to the south.
It's nothing to go from negative 40 to 30.
Just like that.
In a matter of hours.
Thankfully, we have a lot of retailers here that sell fashionable coats.
And scarves and boots.
Anything you need to come enjoy it. But honestly, you can't get a better winter, a better summer in Great Falls, especially with all of our activities.
I know.
We have skiing at Showdown Mountain, or Showdown, Montana.
Montana's for Ski Hill.
And it's beautiful.
The OG.
The OG.
Oh, that's a 3-letter acronym.
I'm sorry. That is the original gangster. Showdown, Montana. And then we also have a lot of fishing and outfitters that can help you in the summer and some into the ice fishing. In the winter.
I am not a huge fly fisher person.
How can you not be? We're blue ribbons everywhere.
I know. I understand. I have a different, let's say, lifestyle objective when I go fishing.
You and me both. My husband does the fly fishing, and I said that kind of gets in the way of my hands. One hand needs to be holding something.
Yeah. A book.
Mine's going to be
Soda.
a beer. I'm just going to say it. It's a beer from Jeremiah Johnson.
I've mentioned it before. We have the best barley.
So
we make the most localist beer. But the fly fishing in the winter, I heard is amazing.
People do that in the winter?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'd like to meet them. Come on and be a guest. You know what? No, I don't want to meet you because I don't want my husband to have another reason to go out and fly fish.
I've met quite a few of them, and, you know, I go, wow, really? But I also sit on a block of ice and ice fish, so I can't pass judgment, and I won't pass judgment. So I'll tell you, you can fly fish year round in those blue ribbon trout streams.
Yes.
So
I mean, real Montana people fish in the winter like Rebecca. But in Great Falls, you're going to find real Montana people. There are other cities where you go and no one's originally from Montana.
Yeah, we are Montanans in Montana. But the other thing that we've often heard many, many times from people is our people are friendly. Now, I've traveled, so I do know what it's like to be in a community that people aren't friendly. Mm-hmm. But I've lived here for so long that it's just second nature to me, and I don't even think about it. But people are usually taken aback by how friendly the people are here.
Yes. I have visited communities or cities where I was a bother just to walk into their business doors. And whenever I walk in, people greet me by name. And maybe because of my job.
It could be.
Because, you know, I share their stuff on Facebook and I want everyone else to know that you can have taffy pulled at Candy Masterpiece or what kind of cocktails are made at N Bar. But it's fun, real people. And we pride ourselves in that part of our community.
Our former teammate, Kristen, who left the beauties of the snow here in Montana for Florida, not to call her out on it, but...
Well, we're going to call her out. She left Montana.
For Florida. All people make choices in life. We don't say they're good, they're bad, they're just choices.
So her choice was to stay with her husband and move to Florida after leaving the military life. And
Love always wins.
Yeah, I guess so. But
anyway, Kristen came from a very, very large community, Atlanta, Georgia-style size community, various places across the U.S. And when she came here, rightfully so, she was a little bit nervous about what it was going to be like. And she left with a piece of Great Falls in her heart. This will be home for her because of the experience she had. She shares that with people. And it's not something that just she had as an experience. It's an experience everybody has when they're here.
What else we want to share about Montana is museums.
Well, Great Falls, you know, this episode is about Great Falls.
Oh, didn't I say Great Falls, Montana?
You said Montana.
Okay, well, I was just going to our title.
The only reason I say that is there are other Great Fallses in the United States.
Virginia for one.
Maryland for another.
What else we have?
It doesn't matter because none of them are greater than Montana's
Great Falls.
Right.
And you know what? I want to say something to Great Falls, Virginia listeners. Get off my hashtag feed. You guys are crowding it. But yeah, we are the only Great Falls that matters in the U.S.
Our recorded claims. If you want to claim yours is better, start your own podcast.
Yeah, Great Falls, Virginia. Are you the capital of museums for your state? Because we're Montana's capital museum here in Great Falls.
With some world-renowned museums.
Yes.
I'll start with famed cowboy artist Charlie Russell. He was a cowboy artist.
He was a Western artist. He originated from St. Louis, Missouri, and always dreamed to live the cowboy life and found that in Great Falls, Montana back in the 1800s.
His artwork depicts what it was actually like. But back in the 1800s, there were no cameras, and what Charlie captured was actual life here in Great Falls within the area. And the museum that's dedicated to his work, not just his artwork, his humanitarian efforts, the work of his wife, Nancy, had not been for her, he probably would not have been as world known as he was. We have their home, his studio, all on the C.M. Russell Museum complex, which we will have an episode just on the Russell Museum, and they're expanding.
They are. And you can always visit them because the latchkey is always open. That's what Charlie would sign his letters with. And you get to see the actual latchkey that Charlie was talking about when you visit his studio. His wife said, "Hey, hon, Need a studio because the media that you use to work with kind of sticking up the house.
Yeah.
And it's growing vastly. You're taking up space.
One of the exhibits in the Russell home is all modern technology exhibit. They just installed it a year or two ago.
Okay.
We'll have to get one of their experts because I'm no damn expert on that, but it is really impressive, that entire new exhibit that's in the Russell home. You actually get to hear Nancy.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So add that on your list of things to do.
And also an episode we need to cover just in depth on the Russell. We also have the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center, which has North America's most extensive collection of the entire expedition. There are many Lewis and Clark Interpretive Centers along the Lewis and Clark Trail. Mm-hmm. But this crew, this journey, these men and one woman, one lady, spent the most time in any one location here in Great Falls because it took them 32 days to portage the falls.
Do you want to know how many days they originally thought it would take to portage the falls?
Yes.
About 5. They said 5 days. You should be fine because they asked for, obviously, help along the way, and that's what they were told.
Well, maybe the first peoples could have portaged it in 5 days, but I'm telling you, I'll just be the first to say it. If the president showed up at my door and said, hey, I just bought some land, I'd like you to figure out what all's there. Here's some money and some food. I don't know how long it's going to take you. Best of luck. I would have probably said, yeah, dude, I'm good just staying right here.
But they went out. And they did get some training beforehand, medical training, if you'll call it that. The purge, burn, or I'm not sure. The way that people survived the medical training back in the 1800s is beyond me. But the rangers at the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center, they're damn experts.
They are.
They can speak on things so eloquently and keep you engaged. And we do capture some of that on our YouTube and our website, www.visitgreatfallsmontana.org. If you want to visit Great Falls virtually, the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center has graciously let me film them burn poop.
Oh, yes.
Put up a teepee. They've also explained medicine on the expedition. And also they gave us a tale of 2 portages because they came here twice, people.
Right.
They
out and back.
Out and back. So that is one of our other museums that we have in the area. And I know it may seem like, wow, that's kind of full of history. Do you have any new stuff?
Oh, well, let me just say we have a history museum.
There you go.
Which is full of history. And before I leave the history thing, we had the amazing opportunity to host the Berlin Airlift Veterans Association here 4 years ago now. And when they were here, why they were here, we're home to Malmstrom Air Force Base and the Montana Air National Guard. But this story is about Malmstrom Air Force Base. Before it was Malmstrom, it was Great Falls Air Base, and it was the training ground for the Berlin Airlift the Berlin Airlift effort after World War II. So they brought the pilots and the reels and everything to fly here because our geography and weather was so much like Berlin that they could train here and then fly over. But we got to host the veterans here.
That is so cool.
So at the History Museum, they captured those veterans telling their stories about the Berlin Airlift and have an exhibit about it there.
Wow.
They have some other cool exhibits. Again, it's a podcast, episode 1. We're not going to dig into it. You'll have to wait for the History Museum episode where we get to share some more details. But we have the History Museum, and then we have a modern art museum, the Paris Gibson Square Museum of Art.
We lovingly call it the Square.
And I will be the first to tell you, they have some of the coolest exhibits.
They do. And Rebecca and I are going to disagree. There's an exhibit with the sticks.
Oh, the Lee Steen exhibit, my favorite.
That's her favorite? I'm a little uneasy when I walk into it.
Which I can understand. I had a yoga class in that studio, and I laughed through the entire thing because it just felt uncomfortable to be, well, first, I'm not super good at yoga, surprise, but also to have the stick figures kind of stare at you while you're doing yoga. It was really cool, but...
So this artist made... Sorry about that sound. This artist made tree stomps limbs, branches, and
old fence posts,
fashion them into people. And it is cool. I like the idea, but maybe just because I'm a scaredy cat, to me, I instantly went with, what if these things came alive?
Well, we know it can happen, just like Night at the Museum.
There we go. See, I'm thinking ahead, people. I'm thinking of, like, what's my exit here? The Paris Gibson Square Museum of Art is free for people to go and look around, and
it features local artists too. You'll find some exhibits from our local modern artists, which I think is just an awesome thing. Beyond the museums, I'm just going to throw this in. We have some exhibits as part of our parking garage.
Oh, the
urban art exhibit, and they change those out quarterly with local artists. A lot of modern art that goes on there, and it's just really cool.
I mean, the art vast, like, for its period in Montana. We just had new art installed in August of 2020. Muralists.
Oh, yeah.
There's some stuff I've never seen before. And so there's art for everyone to enjoy while here. And there's other museums in here, like the Children's Museum. We have one of those. The history we mentioned.
The Children's Museum has a fuselage from a plane donated by one of our local businesses that does plane rebuilding and remanufacturing. So,
oh, wow. And then Malmstrom Air Force Base has their own museum.
Yep.
And so you can access that.
First People's Buffalo Jump.
Yes, we have that one. That is the largest buffalo jump in North America. So I don't know if you guys have ever watched Zombieland 2. Woody Harrelson gives a little plug for Great Falls, Montana, because his strategy in the movie is a buffalo jump.
Which is brilliant.
And he talks about the Blackfeet people and how this is how they would get their buffalo.
The history that we have, and I will just say it, the one thing we don't have is a really good First Peoples Museum.
No.
I'm working some contacts. Hopefully this becomes something of a reality for us, but the stories that we have connected with the First Nations within our state and the Missouri River here in this area is so impressive. So I'll give the plug outside of Great Falls within our base camp. Browning, Montana has a fantastic Plains Indian Museum.
Yes. So obviously we want to experience that too. So we'll have to have some experts in that are going to tell us everything they know about the First Peoples that are here.
And I have the perfect guest for that. I'm so excited for that episode.
And then Rebecca also mentioned the rivers we have here already, the Missouri, the Smith, and the Roe River.
Yep. We mentioned some of our state parks already, which was First Peoples, not only a museum, but a state park from that standpoint. We also have Giant Springs State Park, which holds the world's largest natural spring that flows at 156 million gallons of water per day.
And from this one vantage point, you can see the spring, the longest river in North America, the Missouri River, and then
shortest river,
the Roe River. And that's Montana's most visited state park, is Giant Springs State Park.
It is. A little further out of the base camp, we've got Tower Rock State Park and then Smith River State Park.
Oh, yes. Oh, correction. I mentioned the three rivers before. It's the Missouri, Sun, and the Roe. I said Smith, but...
The Smith is just south of us, but right in the city limits, yeah. Right.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to be a damn expert.
We aren't.
And we have 57 parks, like we said before.
So the thing I'll mention, one of our parks is a water park. We have Montana's only 3-in-a-row flow rider.
No, flow rider is the right way to say that.
No, I'm pretty sure it's not. I mean, we did have Flow Rida do a concert here, but Flow Rider is the water park feature. Sorry about that. Really nice place. When my nieces and nephew come into town, we go there. That's the first place they want to go, and then the trampoline park afterwards, and then the children's museum. It's like
they're wiped out when they're here.
They're from a town of 5 people. Come on. And then we have 2 golf courses.
Yes.
Public golf courses.
And the disc golf, too.
Yep, 2 disc golf courses.
Yeah. But one thing about our parks is a lot of them have art in them.
Yep.
Because we have this gym. It's called the River's Edge Trail. And wow, is it amazing. 53 miles.
On the banks of the Missouri River.
connect. You can go from the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center to Giant Springs State Park all the way up to Ryan Dam.
Yep.
It runs that way.
Even further south, you head to the top of the Great Falls on the South Shore Trail. And it has 24, 25, 26 works of art.
26.
Has the lure been installed?
I can't find the lure yet.
Okay, so 25 works of art, maybe, along the River's Edge Trail.
So even more art. There's also some buffalo that roam around Great Falls.
A lot of buffalo.
Yeah. I think 24 are still in the area. So when you're here, you might want to hunt the buffalo and shoot a selfie with them. And we also are right around 4 mountain ranges.
Yep. We've got the Highwood Mountains, the Little Belt Mountains, my favorite, not that we claim favorites. The Rocky Mountains are to the west of us. And then we have the Big Belt Mountains to the south of us. We have what's called here, the Rocky Mountains span multiple states, but our other mountains are called island mountain ranges. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned from our guests is that's an oddity for them. They're not used to just seeing sprouting of mountains
They want
and
to
then they disappear. Like usually they're a long range, but ours are island mountains. They stand alone. But the difference is the Rocky Mountains to the west of us are home to the Scapegoat Wilderness as well as the Bob Marshall Wilderness Complex, which creates amazing opportunity for backpacking or horseback riding. The Little Bell Mountains are multi-use mountains. You can walk them.
You can be naked and afraid in them.
You can be, because that happened. You can ride your dirt bike, your four-wheeler, your side-by-side. You could do your jeeping. I think that's how you say it.
I don't know. We'll have to have a Jeep expert and tell
Jeep
us.
club. I don't know. But they're open. They're more open for multiple uses. They're also home to moose, elk, bear, deer, antelope.
I did see some bears.
Rock chucks.
Rock chucks? What are rock chucks?
To me, they're a marmot.
Okay.
They look a little bit like a raccoon without the circles.
Okay. So rock chucks are there.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if that's the proper term. Where I grew up, we didn't have rock chucks. When I moved to central Montana, my husband's from here. He calls them rock chucks. I'm going to say he's an expert, but
it makes sense to me.
He could be a liar.
He might be. So yes, we do have bear, and aren't the little belts being reintroduced with the bighorn sheep?
That's right. Zach was telling us about that.
Yeah, so Zach's our other coworker, and yeah, they're going to be introduced again.
Which is pretty exciting.
That is.
So you're going to have a lot of those kind of wildlife watching opportunities. We also, I mentioned the 2 wilderness areas, Scapegoat and Bob Marshall Wilderness Complex. We also have a wildlife refuge.
Yeah, Benton
Lake Wildlife Refuge. Now, the things you're going to find there, I'm not an expert on.
No.
Birds. Lots of birds.
I know it's Freeze Out Lake.
Oh.
There's the birds there, and that's in March, where
migratory swan patterns. Again, not an expert.
Oh, thousands upon thousands are there, and so you're going to poop in your car, but you're definitely going to want to take a picture or two. That's pretty much what Great Falls makes you do, because everyone here is a professional photographer. As we said, maybe in this podcast or a different one, Rebecca's a photographer, and she goes on her scenic drives, and bam, it's on Instagram getting hundreds of likes.
You don't know this because it's a podcast, so you can't see how old I am, but I am a little bit older. I'm old enough to know back in the day, your phone didn't have a camera on it. Today it does.
So without that phone, take those pictures, because many people come here for nature photography.
Yeah, which there's just so much opportunity for. The difficult part is, I will tell you, it's happened to me. You'll stop and you'll be like, oh my God, that's so gorgeous. Then you try to take a picture and you're like, the picture doesn't look anything like what I'm seeing.
Well, thankfully, we had a local photographer write a blog for us on visitgreatfallsmontana.org. Just go to Basecamp blog, and Tony Bynum, he is a local, published, international, all the titles you want to throw, he's got them. And he told people how to take professional level photos in the Great Falls area. And
Perfect.
He breaks it down pretty simply. So even if you're just using your cell phone or a DSLR, He goes through it all, and you can have the same kind of quality that you're going to make your peers jealous.
So if the podcast doesn't make me famous, you're telling me I could become a professional photographer and become famous that way?
Yeah, I mean, everyone here is. So we also have 2 national parks near us. Did we hit on those already?
You know, in episode 0, we mentioned the Science Park and the Pretty Park. And again, we'll just mention it here because we're going to dig deep into them in a future episode. But from 2.5 hours north of Great Falls is Glacier National Park, where there are glaciers. I'm going to tell a little bad story about myself. When I was young, we went on vacation as a family to the Black Hills. And we were in the Black Hills for a few days, and I asked my parents when we were going to get to the Black Hills. I had no idea that it meant the hills were just dark because of all the trees, and it was the entire area we were in. I thought it was like a place you showed up and there was just black trees, okay? So Glacier National Park has glaciers in it. It looks like a bunch of snow. So don't miss them.
What? You're telling me that a glacier is frozen water and snow is also frozen water?
Yeah, so don't walk past and go, we went to Glacier and we didn't see any glaciers.
You know what?
Did you see snow? Because that's a glacier.
One of the best things that National Parks has done this year, I think, is, well, I'm going to do a little side note. They made advertising remarks about negative reviews they received on Yelp. So
that's the best.
So if one of them might be there weren't any glaciers, others might be the trees blocked the view.
Yeah.
Or there are bugs.
So we're also 3.5 hours south is Yellowstone National Park. And one of the reviews I heard from Yellowstone National Park is, I would have planned my trip differently if you weren't going to put the buffalo out.
So, we
have no control over when they show up.
Well, we want you to have the best time while you're here. We don't control the buffalo, nor the bugs.
Or the elk.
Or the bears. So bring bear spray.
Yes.
Know that trees might block the view.
If you're flying, you're not going to get bear spray on the plane. But feel free to come into town. You can buy it at Bighorn Outdoor Specialists or Shields. So you'll be prepared, and then you can leave it behind for the next guest if you don't use it, which we hope you don't have to use it.
Yes.
But if you do use it, it's pretty effective.
And you might come on the podcast and tell us an experience with a bear.
Yeah. We'd love to hear your perspective on surviving bears.
So Yellowstone is 3.5 hours to the south. And when I first started working here, Rebecca told me a funny story when she was at a trade show.
And this is not like an isolated incident. People ask me this all the time. Dead serious. I'll be standing there ready to share everything I've shared with you today about Great Falls, and they'll be like, what are you going to do if Yellowstone blows?
Or the Yellowstone, the Wyoming booth.
Oh, that's another one. So let me finish my Yellowstone.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm a podcast listener now.
Yellowstone National Park is the site of an active volcano. It's a huge caldera. And if you've watched John Cusack in 2012, he talks about a pretty accurate description, and people will ask me, what are you going to do if Yellowstone blows? It's not a question. It's I will disintegrate. It's not an option. You know, if I'm really concerned, probably drive towards the blast zone, make sure I don't survive. Because I've seen those episodes on what it's like to survive those apocalypse. It's not pretty. No. I don't want to be a part of it. But the other funny thing, because that happens all the time, this one's an isolated incident. We were at a trade show. Great Falls and Billings were there. We were talking about Montana, and people came over to the booth, and they're like, tell us about Yellowstone National Park. And I'm like, well, the Wyoming booth is over there because it's in Wyoming. We have 5 of the entrances, but a majority of the park is in Wyoming. They sent us over here to talk to you. And I'm like, well, fine, we'll take it. We have done a fairly effective job telling everybody that we have Yellowstone National Park in our boundaries, but we do not. We share it with Wyoming. And the other thing is, it's very important to know, we talk about distance in hours because when we say miles, people in larger markets might freak out.
Yeah, and we have friends in the north that visit us quite often, and
they're in kilometers.
Yeah, so we'll keep it to hours. Hopefully they use the hour benchmark in Canada too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's still a universal
there
time.
we go. Okay.
But I will tell you, the reason we don't use miles or kilometers is because it is deceiving. When we say it's 286 miles and if your daily commute takes 3 hours to go 20 miles, you might think it'll take you a long time to do 200 plus miles. That's an afternoon drive in Montana, so don't worry about that.
Speed limits are 80.
In some spots on the interstate.
Yeah, you can get up to 80 while you're driving. You're like, wow, that drive was a lot shorter than I thought.
We don't recommend it for your first time, simply because there's so much to see. You should slow down.
Yes.
Take your time.
So Sluice Boxes State Park is another one in the area we forgot to mention. And you can experience the sunset out there. But when you drive back to Great Falls, you get the sunset all over again. It goes from these mountain island ranges over the mountains, and it's beautiful. But then when you exit the park, you're back and you're seeing our agricultural history and experience the sunset all over again.
Touching on our ag, we are big into ag, as I've mentioned, maybe 1 or 2 times.
Maybe.
We have really great barley.
I think she said that.
We also have amazing durum, which is wheat in this market. We have a company here in town that manufactures pasta, and we sell that pasta because it's the highest quality pasta to frozen food companies and buffets, like in Vegas or on cruise ships, because it holds up over long periods of time. So we got amazing durum. Which is wheat. We have amazing barley. We are an egg center. We've got cattle, and I would be really negligent to not mention our agricultural roots within the community, because it is evident when you show up here. But what I will tell you is you just can't walk onto a ranch like City Slicker style and expect to get a tour or to jump on a horse. They're working operations. It would be similar to walking into a restaurant and going, I'll just cook my own steak.
They're busy. They got things to do.
So they've got that operation, but there are some agritourism experiences that are available within this area. So be prepared to have those experiences if you want them.
Awesome. So that's Great Falls in a nutshell.
I can think of 1,000 more things to say, but
we're going to
save those for another episode.
So as we stammer through this, once again, Rebecca has the awkward pauses. I might sound nasally, but we're here to have a damn good time. And we're going to touch more about Charlie Russell. We're going to dive deeper and have some guests on from the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center so they can actually tell you about the Tale of Two Portages.
We have Western Art Week coming up, where we become the Western art capital of the world. We'll bring in some experts about that.
Paintings sell for over $1 million at auction.
But you could also buy a soil painting for like $40.
And they do other ways. Like there's furniture, there's jewelry. Everything.
There's a leather crafter that makes journals that is absolute. I almost bought one, but I'm going to have to save up a little bit more. They are amazing, and I wouldn't ever want to write in it, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
There was also a woman that did a red wine painting. Is it red wine art?
There's beautiful. A lady who did gunpowder, so she would lay gunpowder out and like explode stuff onto the art.
Oh, wow.
Scratchboard, pastels, watercolor, oils.
So there's normally there's over 14 shows and 800 artists. So we're going to see what 2021 brings our way. Hopefully we can experience some of what it has to offer. It has to be a little scaled back. That's fine, because we just want to see what these artists have to share with us.
The artist community is amazing here. The mediums they use are impressive, and we love being the Western art capital of the world. But again, we can't cover it all in one episode.
No. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
See you soon in Great Falls. And until next time.
This has been Rebecca.
And this is Maddie.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.
On the next episode of We're No Dam Experts, Rebecca and Maddie try to answer the most commonly asked question by in-market guests, which is also the most difficult to answer. Where are the falls? We're No Dam Experts was produced by Great Falls, Montana Tourism with original music by the Best Damn Musician, Joel Corda.